All right, we're back. So we're gonna be talking about my S60R again, or S60Rs in general, because, yup. Talk about why I bought mine, and why I think you should also buy one. But I bought this car for $8,900. I've mentioned before, and for $8,900, well less than 10 grand, you are not going to find a cooler, in my opinion, of course, but you know, cooler is subjective. I think it's quite cool. But you're not gonna find a faster, you know, stock at least, more practical, rare, and unique car for less than 10 grand. It's just not gonna happen. That's like actually like reliable. I mean, I just don't. I don't think you're gonna find anything as unique either. They didn't make many of these. Only like 13,000 or so came to the United States, and I would wager maybe like oh, I don't know, like 6,000 to 8,000, 6, 7, 8,000 are actually left still running and driving, and then you know, even less of those that have like, that aren't like kind of trashed or highly modified or have 200,000 miles on them. They are, you know, I never see them. Like, I can't tell you the last time I saw an S60R other than mine on the road. Like, I just couldn't even tell you. You know. So yeah, these things came with a 5-cylinder, 2.5 liter 5-cylinder, turbocharged. You know, makes about 300 horsepower. There it is. It's exactly 300 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. So say, call it 300 torque, 300 horsepower. And the early cars, you could get it in a 5-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual. And in 06, like this car, in 06, this is an 07, they came out with a 6-speed automatic, which is what mine have. This is a 2007 S60R. It's pretty much perfect, exactly how I'd want it. I kind of would probably want a manual. I kind of would have a manual in this thing, but I'm not too bummed out. It's pretty quick still, pretty fast. Faster than I thought it would be. That's for damn sure. You know, I knew it was quick, but like, dude, it thing goes. So yeah, it's all-wheel drive. All S60Rs were all-wheel drive, and that's the only way you could get them. And then, you know, yeah, the early cars came with a 5-speed automatic, which, you know, according to my friend and people I've talked to and videos I've watched, the 5-speed autos suck. So yeah, and the automatic can't quite put as much power down as the manual can. Or it's in like the first and second gear. I think in the 5-speed autos especially, the power is, you can't get all the torque out of the engine like the manual, but the 6-speed auto I think remedies that. But yeah, again though, this is you never see these. They're really unique. Forever I wanted one. I can't remember what exactly, you know, made me really want one of these, other than the fact that they're really rare. And I mean, for the price, you're getting a pretty damn reliable, fast, very practical. The trunk on this car is huge. It goes way back in there. It's pretty deep trunk. And again, it's pretty unique. That I want to get an exhaust for it because I don't want to modify it that crazily. Just, you know, this thing only has 86,500 miles on it. I bought it with 83,000 flat on it, so I don't want to just put a bunch of mods on it. I might get like a blow-off valve, you know, an aftermarket blow-off valve, and like an exhaust, and that's basically it. You know, maybe an intake or something. You know, I just, I want to get a lot of sound out of it more than anything. That's the best part about the car. But other than that, you know, I don't think I'd want to do much more to it. So yeah. And then you know, another thing about these is that the normal car, the normal S60s, used a 2.4 liter five cylinder. Yeah, they both had 5 cylinder, pretty sure. They use a 2.4 liter, and the people that modify you can sleeve the block on these S60Rs and whatnot, and you can get a bunch of power out of them. But a lot of people that modify these, they'll actually put the 2.4 liter motor in it and then modify it that way. And they just handle power better from what I've seen. A lot of people do that. They swap the 2.4s from the S60s into these and modify them that way, which is interesting. I'm obviously not going to do that, but you can, and people do. And that's another thing. A lot of these aren't even original block anymore. New, these were like 50 grand. They competed against like the E46 M3, the I don't know what, B6 Audi S4. I don't know what, I just know the B5 S4. It's the only chassis code I know for the S4 is the B5, which was like 99 to 2003 or some shit like that. I don't remember, but might be 98 to 03. I can't remember, 2000 to 03. But yeah, this competed against that. It was a little less expensive than those. It had the 04 to 08, 09 Audi S4 had about 340 horsepower. I'm gonna put a picture of them. And then the E46, which had 333. So this was down on power to those, but it was also down on price. This had a fully adjustable chassis setting, so you can, you got comfort, sport, and advanced here. It'll change up your suspension, ignition timing, whatnot. Advanced, you ride's pretty rough and advanced, but you're gonna go around a corner a little better. The handling, though, of course, on this car is not really, it's not the strong suit of the car. It handles all right. It's decent, but it's not particularly like amazing or anything. But it's all right. It's not bad. I've pushed it around a corner a few times, and honestly, it handles fairly well. Nothing like my 911 or a lot of other cars I've driven. It's okay. That's not what I would buy this car for, but it doesn't handle bad though. I mean, it's gonna handle better than normal cars, of course. Especially when you put it in advance, so you definitely notice huge difference, and in comfort. I always just have it in sport. But yeah, you also have a sport transmission button. It's going to quicken up your shift, and you get going real quick. The sport transmission button down here by the gear shift. But yeah, so it's got a lot of features and stuff. It's got a pretty decent radio. You can change the bass and all that. Great AC, works great. And yeah, these things, from what I've seen, they're very reliable. I've had no problems. My friend has put like 30-40k miles on his, has zero problems, zero issues. So yeah, again, I just highly recommend these. Now, they came in a lot of different colors, not a lot, but a fair amount of colors. And there's a color called Sonic Blue, which is just one of my favorite colors I've ever seen on a car. I like blues on cars. A lot of manufacturers offered some really cool blues, and but Blue S60R, the Sonic Blue S60R, cool ass name, and like it's so pretty. So that'd be the dream spec. I'm not gonna like wrap mine or paint it or nothing, but I wish it was Sonic Blue. That's the only thing I would change probably, and I would put a manual in it, but other than that, it's perfect. And yeah, I mean, the Sonic Blue, it's so pretty. That is a good looking car. It's a good color. So yeah. And then you have like, let's see here. There's a red color as well. I don't really like the red ones, actually, to be honest. I've seen one of the only S60Rs I've seen was a red one. It had like white stripes down, on the hood back. I didn't really think it looked good, but yeah, I don't really like them in red. Silver looks good. It's kind of bland, but it looks good. There's a color called Magic Blue, which is like black. I'm just a little colorblind, but I think it's like a blackish color, really dark blue. I think it looks good. Actually, I like Magic Blue. And then they came in. I don't know if they came in white or not. I'm not sure. Really, the only colors I've ever seen is red, you know, Sonic Blue, Red, Silver, Magic Blue, and that's gray. Oh, they offered him gray, which I don't like. I don't like this, like the normal gray color. I'm not really a big fan of that. But then a lot of them were gray. So, you know, yeah, I don't think they offered him white. I'm thinking about it, I don't think they did. I think my white might have looked alright though, but I'm not sure. I don't think they did though. But yeah, the S60R came out. The S60 came out in 01, I think, 2000, 2001, and ran till I'm not even sure when. I'll put it on screen. And the S60Rs came out in 04 for America. They think they came out in 03 for Europe, but you know, they ran from 04 to 07. So not very long. Again, there's not many made. They didn't make them for very long. So, you know, yeah. Which sucks because the normal S60, I'm pretty sure, sold pretty well. I mean, I see them all the time still. So, you know, yeah, they're good cars. And then, you know, yeah, the S60R, of course, came with a body kit. And then there was, like, the Volvo Sport body kit, which added, I think, like a splitter, you know, a different, like, front end, you know. Other than this one, the normal S60R, which already looked different, had a different front end, wheels, you know, back end. But there's like another sport body kit that you could get for it, and it looks pretty cool. I like it. But you know, my friend I think he has the side skirts for it, and I want to say the back end. He also got the rear end, the sport valence. Volvo, like, you know, offered from Volvo, so you could get it. There was a lot of body kits for these, like and whatnot, but you know, and IPD is a company as well that makes, you know, they make a lot of aftermarket parts for this car. It has a fairly decent aftermarket. It's not amazing, but there were a few companies that did make aftermarket parts for this thing. They were pretty popular to modify, you know, 5-cylinder turbocharged. So, you know, yeah, people like them a lot. But you know, compared to other cars, you know, again, for less than 10 grand, I just don't see any car even coming anywhere near close to this. I'm trying to think of some cars. S197 Mustang GT, you know, that's a car you could get under 10, and you know, it offers the same power, the same horsepower and torque. I'm pretty sure they're like dead on. You can get those with a 5-speed auto, 5-speed automatic, or I mean a 5-speed manual, a 5-speed automatic. And, you know, if you like a muscle car, I'd go with that. They're usually, for under 10, S197s have got pretty bad. I mean, they're pretty ratty for under 10, which is dumb because I think that's about what they should be worth for, like, a decent one. But, and you could probably find a decent one for not 10 grand. But, you know, if you like a muscle car, you like a Mustang, you could go with that. It's not going to be as practical. And in my opinion, you know, with the proper exhaust, I don't think it sounds as good either. I do like the 4.63 valve motors. I like how they sound, but they're not as good, in my opinion. And that's become my favorite generation of Mustangs. So, you know, yeah. You know, the Celine, I wish I'm going to make a video about it, because golly, I've been looking at this 05 S281 Celine I want so bad. It's one of my all-time favorite cars. Body kit's probably my favorite body kit I've ever seen put on a car. Like, it just looks so mean. It looks so good. But, you know, S197 GT you could get. You know, there's numerous BMWs 335i's, you know, stuff like that. If you want to run the gambit and possibly have one of the most unreliable cars ever, you could do that. The 335i's can be quick. I raced one in my 911, and he was hanging with me for a bit. I pulled away, but you know, I'm sure if he had another like 50 horsepower, he would have beat me. He was shifting manually too. I have a dual clutch, so you know, yeah, we lined up at the light. I was pulling out of McDonald's and I seen him, and I like kind of flagged him down, not exactly, but you know, we were neck and neck for like until I was into like third gear. So I mean, he was fast, and I'm sure not with many more mods, he would have probably blown my doors off, but. You know, some 335s can be fast, but again, you know, unreliable as hell. So, you know, and you can find them under 10. They're going to have a lot of miles on them. So I wouldn't recommend that either. You know, Catfish Camaros, I just don't like them. If you can find a Firebird, maybe. I don't think you can find a Firebird, like an 02 Firebird for less than 10. It'd be pretty ratty. Fox bodies aren't under 10 anymore. I mean, like, this is one of the last cool, rare, very rare, unique, fast, very fast, practical, reliable cars you can get under 10 grand. Like, it's the best option. I just don't see anything else that you could get that would even come close to this car all around. So yeah, stock, the only thing I would say is the downside is the sound. But once you put an aftermarket exhaust on it, it just comes to life. I mean, they sound so good. So yeah, highly recommend the Volvo S60R. It's a first car, as your fun secondary car, your daily driver, your only car. It can do it all. I mean, it can do it all. If you're doing it for a sports secondary car, get a manual, and yeah, you won't regret it. You'll never look back. I plan to keep this car for a long time, hopefully. So yeah, that's about it though. Get yourself an S60R. I'll see y'all in the next video.